This behind me is my 2015 38R SSA mobile suite. And this here is my Dometic Sealand 4410 toilet, and it has decided not to add water. There's a 12-volt solenoid back there, and it could be the screen is plugged up, or it could be that the solenoid valve itself has failed, but it will flush, but it won't add any water. So I've got to lift this toilet off and replace that fill valve. I requested a quote from DRV for the part, and they came in at $285.36. I found it online at PDX-RV LLC in Gladstone, Oregon for $137.04. So DRV was about double for the part, and I got the part in less than a week from PDX-RV LLC. This is the part they sent, and it looks identical as far as I can tell so far. And it came with some instructions. Now, I've held a master plumber's license for most of my adult life, and I've worked on my fair share of toilets. But this toilet doesn't have a tank, and it doesn't have a lever. It has a switch on the wall, and I understand from another post that there's a pipe coming out of the bottom of it a little longer than what you'd normally find. So I'm real interested in how this is going to go. I also know that it's going to smell when I pull that tank up. So I have flushed out my blackwater tank 3 times. And then I thought about, would an empty tank smell more than a tank that was full? And I theorized that a full tank has less surface sidewall area. So I'm going with the almost full tank, and I'll be prepared to stuff a rag that's in a plastic bag down in the hole as soon as I get it off. Make sure you turn off the water pump. Now, I operate 100% of the time on the water pump. I fill my freshwater tank, and when it gets low, I know that my gray and black need to be emptied, and I refill it again. I feel like that if you're filling and emptying and filling and emptying the freshwater tank, it keeps it pretty clean, not stagnant. And also, being a plumber, I know that pumps that don't get exercise will usually fail. So my pump is constantly being exercised. The other benefit is when the park loses water, I rarely know it. When I leave the rig, I can turn the water off here, and I don't have to worry about anything happening. It's just the way I do it. I like it that way. So now the water's off, and we'll pull this toilet. Got some gloves, got my 2x4s, got an old towel on the floor. I need to get a socket and pull out those lag bolts. Looks like they're 3/8. That was long-winded. After I took the screws out, the leg bolts, I thought, I wonder if I could just turn this toilet without pulling it, just turn it to the side and pivot on that pipe that's inserted into the tank. And I could, lo and behold. And I think I can get in here and work too. You can see down here, the pipe, it's going into that flange. I just spun it on there. Hopefully it didn't break the seal. You never know. And that's the part I've got to replace. So I'm about to dig in. Okay, this is the one I just pulled out, and you won't be able to see it, but there is some debris down in there in that screen, but I don't think it's enough to to have done what it did. I have a feeling that it's just locked up in here. So when we take this apart, we find this coil and this cylinder that when you put a charge on it, it retracts. So, and it's got a rubber tip on it. That's rubber. And in here, there's a diaphragm. And that rubber tip goes right on that center part. And there's a small hole in that center part. There's also a small orifice here, and I can't tell, and it could be plugged. I don't know. Kind of looks like it's open. So when this is on there and that retracts, fluid should be able to go across behind this. And if it does that, this is the input, and that's the screen, and there's not enough debris in there to have stopped it up. And then this goes on here, and so that plunger retracts when you give it a charge, and it allows fluid to change the balance, I guess, of this rubber diaphragm. And the rubber diaphragm, it is swelling, and that could be the whole problem. I'm going to say this failed because this diaphragm has swelled. That's my prediction. I don't know. What do you guys think? Now what I did to get it off, it has a bracket on the toilet, and this came with a bracket, but I took out these two screws because those two would be too hard to reach, and so that's why I have it like that. So I'm going to take these two loose so that I don't need that anymore. And this pipe, I'm not going to use it either because the other one's still fine. I'm just going to replace just this and see what happens. Alright, got it off. I'm going to put some Teflon tape on this. This has got a hose clamp fitting. I'll put some Teflon on this. Changed my mind. I am going to use the new hose. The other one felt like it bottomed out before it should have. This one's got a nice rubber in there, so I'm going to use it. Well, I'm going to have to use the new bracket too, because the holes on the old bracket, the tapped holes, don't seem to jive with the screws, so this goes on too. Okay, got it in. It's right down there. And ended up using all the new parts. My problem with the bracket was I was trying to put it in upside down. I do that shit sometimes. Anyway, by the way, if you're ever curious, you know, if you can't flush your toilet, they tell you can push a screwdriver or something down here, and it'll push that rod, and it pushes that to open up the valve or the ball. Anyway, now it's time to add some water. Okay, I tested it. It works. No leaks so far. I'll leave it open. I'll leave it like this for a little bit just to make sure I don't get any water on the floor. But it fills and it works. So, success.